Hello, hello, hello. It's me, Dr. Stephanie Fine, and I'm here to talk with you about all things maintaining weight loss, because that's what we do at the Ounce of Prevention Chat at 12:30 on Thursdays. And you made it. I'm so happy to see you. And we are just right in holiday time. And there's so many great topics to talk about during holiday time. And this week we are talking about shopping. If we're talking about maintenance of weight loss, why would we be talking about shopping? Because the way you do one thing is the way you do everything. It's so interesting. I've talked about this before, and people are always like, I don't think so. And then they go back and think, and they're like, well, I work in this particular way, I eat in this particular way, I shop in this particular way, I have relationships. Like, it really is. If you dive deeper, you'll start to see it. It's really interesting. And shopping is such a part of this time that it's another place that we can start to get insight into how we're working. And then once we have that insight, we can do something about it. So if you've been watching your eating and being aware of it, and it's making some sense, you may get some insight about your eating by looking at your shopping behaviors. The thing about the holidays that is so challenging is there really are more opportunities for eating off your plan, the things that you would normally eat, and shopping and spending money in ways that you wouldn't normally. Now, the key, of course, as this is with eating, is planning. If you know, and we could arguably say that you could know, how many presents you're buying at the end of the year, then you can budget that in, right? You could actually figure that out. So planning is always the case, right? If you know how many calories you're having in a day, how many that works for your body, then you plan your food. Now, certainly in the holidays you can do that. Often you'll know there's a party here, there's a eggnog here, and I want to get my latte, then you plan for it. So planning is always the answer, with money or with food. So if that feels right to you, you're on your way. Nice job. If that isn't it, and you have a plan where you're going to be perfect, and you're going to, if we're talking about shopping, you're going to spend minimally, but you find that you get this extra thing here and this extra thing there, then that's where we need to bring the awareness. So, and we're talking about this now. This is the 5th of December. So we have a good 20 days, almost 3 weeks, to be able to be aware in the next 3 weeks of how you're spending when you don't want to. That's the key. And that's the same with eating, right? When you're eating something you don't want to. If you're eating something you want to eat, that's totally different, and you could make room for it. If you're eating or spending when you don't want to, that's the place we need to explore. And the first thing to do is to become aware of that. If you're not aware of it, then you just sort of wake up the next day and you're like, whoa, what happened? So the awareness is what's important. And you can do that. You can do that because we're having this talk right now. This is why it's timed here, so that you can start to see those behaviors. Now, the thing about being aware, and then the next step would be changing behaviors. Sometimes you'll be able to do that in this, you'll become aware and be able to change, and sometimes you may need the awareness this time around, and you'll change the behavior over time. But the behavior is the next thing to change after the awareness. And the thing that can be hard, especially in the holiday times, about the behavior change, is that with any change, it's a ripple effect, right? A domino effect. You will be changing other people's experience too, especially in the holidays, right? So if you decide, you know what, it doesn't make sense for me to buy presents for this group of people because I frankly can't afford it, and it's not, my heart isn't in it. There may, especially if you've been doing it, there may be a moment of disappointment on the part of the other people, but think about it being tolerable to, like, what's the benefit for you? Do you get the benefit of having the money or the time or the whatever it was, and there's a moment of disappointment for someone else. Tolerating that discomfort, your own personal discomfort from the perceived discomfort of others, that's what we're looking to do. When you can tolerate a little discomfort, you're unstoppable. Because then when Aunt Mildred says, oh, please eat my pie that I made especially for you, but you, first of all, maybe you don't like the pie, that's one thing, but maybe you really don't want it. It's not on your plan, you're doing really well, you're happy at the weight that you are, and that's not something you want to have. You can give Aunt Mildred a big, huge hug. Say, thank you for thinking of me. It's so important to me that you're here, and I love spending time with you. And I'm, you could try to divert. You could also take a piece home and then toss it. I mean, there's many ways of doing it. But what I mean is, there's that moment of here's what it is. I would rather you tolerate disappointing Mildred than let yourself down. You live with yourself forevermore, and you have to depend on the relationship you have with yourself. The one with Aunt Mildred, a hug might be able to fix it. You can let her down in an easy way and tell her that you really love her sweaters more, or something else she does when she writes you a note, or some way to connect with Aunt Mildred. But when you disappoint yourself or hurt the relationship with yourself, that has a much deeper effect long term. When we can shore up that relationship, and that you can get to the goals that you want, and you can keep it, and you can tolerate some discomfort, you will be unstoppable in the holidays or anytime. And that's what I want for you. So awareness of an unwanted behavior, and then tolerating the discomfort of change. You can do it. It's a feeling, and you can feel it, and it will pass. That's the beauty. It actually does pass if you let it be there. So that's my challenge for you this holiday season, is I would love for you to become aware of any behaviors you're not happy with. If you make the plan, make the plan. The plan is key. When the parties are for eating, which gifts you need for shopping. Plan, amazing. If you're noticing that you're going off of plan, or you're a little out of control, and it doesn't even have to be crazy out of control, I'm just saying something unwanted, awareness is first, and then behavior change is second, which will come with a little tolerating of discomfort. And you can do it. Because ultimately then, you have pride, you get to feel great afterwards, you're getting towards your goals, you don't get off track. That feels really good. And that's what I want for you. Good feelings, good relationship with yourself, strong goals, and confidence. Because that will get you where you want to go. Have a really great week, and I will talk to you next week. Can't wait to see you then. Bye.